A follow-up tonight to the shocking story we reported last night that executives at taxpayer-funded and money-losing Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac receiving nearly $13 million in bonuses for meeting modest performance goals, even though those entities are still in the hold of taxpayers to the tune of many billions of dollars, maybe even trillions. Our next guest is calling for President Obama to pull the plug on those bonuses. Senator John Barrasso joins us now. Senator, how do you make the president rescind the bonuses?
Well, you remember, David, when President Obama was then a candidate running for president in 2008, he wrote to the Treasury Secretary asking for an immediate stoppage of any kind of bonuses to Freddie or Fannie. And I want the president to tell his own Treasury Secretary that exact same thing right now. They should absolutely cancel the bonuses and make sure that this never happens again. Hard-earned taxpayer money shouldn't go to reward failure, and that's what's happening here.
Not only is it rewarding failure, but back in 2008, these institutions were essentially nationalized. That means that the people working for them are public servants, and I don't know any public servant that makes, outside of Bell, California, that makes a $1 million bonus.
And this was a bonus that was approved by the Federal Housing Financing Authority. We are talking about a government program. This is a government-approved bonus of over $12 million to 10 executives. It is outrageous, and I think the American people deserve an explanation from the president about why he has allowed this to go forward.
By the way, what are you going to do if the president doesn't listen?
I've been working with Senator McCain. We're going to have an amendment to basically any kind of piece of legislation that looks like it's moving in the Senate to attach that to prevent any future payments of bonuses like this of hard-earned taxpayer dollars.
Do we know who is responsible for offering these bonuses?
Well, it is this Federal Housing Financing Authority. They approved it, and the money went out. We're not talking, David, about stock options here.
Right.
We're talking about cash bonuses, over $12 million cash money.
Right. I understand it's this institution, but I wanted even more specificity than that. I'm wondering if there's some individual. We have seen this happen before in government where somebody's a friend of somebody and then they say, geez, can you put something in there for me, something extra? Maybe it's something like that.
Well, this agency has a director. We have not heard yet from them. I think the White House has been eerily silent on this. When the president was then a senator running for president, he was very outspoken on this. I want to hear him speak up now and tell the American people that this has been wrong. It should be stopped. They should not allow this to go forward, and it shouldn't happen again.
By the way, has anybody in the administration said anything to you or anybody else in Congress about this?
I think at one of the press conferences at the White House, they said, well, it's out of our hands, not our responsibility. This White House needs to take responsibility. They've talked about transparency in government, an open government, and accountable government. They should be held accountable, and the president should personally be held accountable for these outrageous bonuses to people who have basically been rewarded for failure.
Right. Well, and the lack of consistency. They had a pay czar, Ken Feinberg, come in and look at companies that had received TARP funds, focusing on the bonuses specifically those companies were making, those managers were making, and limiting those bonuses. If you can do that for a private company that takes government money, you should certainly do that for a government industry or a government enterprise.
Well, specifically, you're talking about a double standard, and I think that's what the American people see, a double standard here, which is why it's no surprise that whenever the president talks about raising taxes, sending more money into government, the American people think it's just going to be wasted. The American people have very little confidence in this administration to use money responsibly or to use it even as well as our families at home do.
Senator John Barrasso, we really appreciate you coming by tonight. Thanks very much for being here. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.